Welcome to.
The Savory Scoop. Hi, friends. Thank you for being here with us. Today, we are going to talk about a topic that everyone talks about when a new year starts, and it's intentions. So, Debbie, I have created intentions for this year for 2025, but when I started thinking about this topic, initially I was just like, why do we even need intentions? Why create them, right? And then I started thinking about that. I'm like, okay, so we personally, at least, we have this inherently, we have this need to progress and evolve, and I think that's within our DNA because many of us deep down have, a desire to be more fit, more successful, be happier in a relationship. And I think there is this inherent craving. So I think before we even start creating intention, it's a good idea to like compassionately accept that part of us that we do have this desire to evolve, and then maybe like even understanding why we have these desires to evolve. And I think everyone will come up with different answers to that question depending on where they're in life and where we're in our consciousness. Have you ever thought about that? Like, why do we need it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think the new year is a great time for universally, as a universal energy, for everyone to have these great intentions of whatever it may be, whether it's, like creating goals or setting, like very specific intentions. It's universally really cool. Personally, myself, I like to set intentions daily. And I also like to remind myself that you setting intentions and it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, and how important like all of the lessons and all of the challenges that come up are going to be throughout that journey. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah. And
totally.
practice goes into play with that, and we talk about that all the time. So those are all important things that I like to remind myself when I'm setting my intentions. And also the duality of setting intentions. Like there's that one side where it's like, we do our best to be very specific and speak in the present moment, like
Mhm.
act as if, like, whatever the intention may be. I like to talk about it like it's already happening in my life. Like I already am, not I am going to, but I am. And
Mhm.
then on the other side, there's that duality and that aspect of surrender where it doesn't have to be so specific. But I also tell myself that I allow myself to expand, which is more broad, but
Mhm.
that just allows me to surrender and allow myself to receive. So that's how I like to think about intentions.
Yeah, I really like how you said you focus more on daily intentions. Like you can have you know, this goal, I want to be healthy again,
Yeah.
right? 2025. But what does it look like every day?
Yeah.
And what, so I'll share this story with you. When we started talking about creating an episode on intention, um, every once a year, like towards the end of the year, some of my friends, we all create a word of the year. So I created a word of the year in 2024, and which we are supposed to implement throughout the year. And it can be any practices like practicing mindfulness, practicing patience, practicing quality time with your family members. It can be anything. So we created that word. I created a word in 2024, and then we got together to create a word for 2025. And that's when I realized I had completely forgotten the word I created in 2024 because life happens and you get busy and you fall back into your pattern. So I do think it's great that collectively it's a beautiful time to create that intention for the new year. But to also have daily intentions to back up that word that you created. If not, after like end of January, you forget what your
Totally.
intention were, right? You fall back into your patterns, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
I
That's why
like that.
journaling is so useful. I like to use all of the tools that I have. And we were
Hmm.
speaking with Payal recently, and she was talking about how she's made a shift, and I have as well, to like using my phone and the notes and the voice messages, and all of those tools we have are so useful because we get so busy in life, and it's like, we're constantly replacing things in our brain and our thoughts, and it's so easy for us to forget. So it's also cool when you do journal or jot things down or write little notes to look back, and then you can really reflect on the journey and see how many lessons there were, how far you've come. So I think that's really useful.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Journaling is one of my favorite. As a matter of fact, that's probably one of the things I always do consistently in the mornings, even if it's like a small note. And I think that shifts your energetic body, just being able to write something down, because thoughts, it comes and goes constantly, right? But to like
Yeah.
choose the thought that you want to practice for the day, how you want to experience the day, I think that is a beautiful, powerful practice. Yeah, so definitely thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And yoga, yeah.
That makes me think about what you're just going to say. In yoga, oftentimes when we start yoga, we set an intention for our practice, which I love. I
Exactly.
love that. Yeah.
That's where I learned it, to be honest. 'Cause, when I did my yoga teacher training, like the concept of Sankalpa, it translates to intention, is something that we were taught, and the idea behind that is that to create an intentional life, it begins with the understanding of sankalpa, which means it sort of translates to like a heartfelt intention, or like a heartfelt resolve, and sankalpa is not just about like I want to make a lot of money, or I
Yeah.
want to have my six pack, or be thin, or become an astronaut. It's not really so much about the outcome of it. It's really about reflecting on like our highest aspirations. And most of the time our aspirations have come from what's been passed down to us, either through our parents, through our culture, through our peers. But to reflect on our authentic highest aspiration, we have to learn to listen to that inner voice. And that's the concept of sankalpa. Like, you don't just create something because you think you're supposed to create that intention,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, for sure. I do think that a lot of, aspirations and stuff have been passed down, but many of us have also, those of us who came from like traumatic childhoods, or, a
Mm,
lot of challenges in our childhood, we have done a lot of the inner healing. And so it's an active part of being present in our own journey where we've made a shift. You know what I mean? So by our mentors, or by how we've healed ourselves, we learned how to create new intentions, with that healing in mind, that highest version of ourselves. And
absolutely.
and
Mhm.
and intentions, like you were saying, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I want a six pack. It can be as simple as like, today I am not going to complain all day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, one day,
Yeah,
I'm
as
not going to
simple as
complain one
that.
time.
And notice
Or, today I am going to be grateful. It can be really super simple, but it makes like a really great impact. I'm not going to judge myself, or, these are all steps in the right direction of our just happiness and joyfulness and bliss and well being. And it can be simple.
It really can be simple, right? And it's so simple, like what you just shared. I won't complain this whole
Yeah.
day. So simple, but applying it, it's going to take
Yeah.
some effort, right? You have to like
Yeah.
pause and notice like what you're about to say. So
Yeah.
much mindfulness comes into it, but like you're saying, it gets simpler too over time the more we are able to really embody the intention that we're creating, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be also with journaling. Like I used to think like, oh, it's so daunting. Like you have to write a whole page or a
Yeah,
whole book. No, it can be simple, like you said, like one word. One word is all it
it's
takes
all
to
I do
to shift,
sometimes. Yeah.
to make a shift. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does. It does. And whether we think we are creating intentions or not, because intentions typically end up creating a routine,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and and yoga, it's called in Ayurveda also it's called dinacharya. Like your daily routine typically come from some intention, whether we consciously created it or not. And interesting thing is one of the yoga workshops I attended, they asked me to write down my daily routine. This is like years ago. And to be honest, I didn't really understand the point of the exercise at the time because I'm thinking, what does this have to do with yoga? Writing my
Yeah.
routine down. And then during the workshop, when I started writing, I realized I did have a morning routine. I just wasn't conscious of it. Like the routine was mostly drinking my coffee, watching TV, or scrolling through Facebook, looking at pictures of family and friends. So whether we are consciously creating it or not, we all do have some kind of routine, which allows us to experience life the way we are experiencing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of setting that intention is being aware of
Yes.
that routine and those things that we're doing so we can make those shifts. Like what are the shifts that we can make, little steps we can make, in uh, uh, while we're trying to achieve that intention.
Completely, completely. And it's, before I understood what intention truly meant, I just created intentions that I was supposed to create, like get
Yeah.
healthy and, work
Like your
harder,
your list, like work out more every
work
day.
out,
Like just yeah.
join a
Your
gym,
list of
like
things. Yeah.
CrossFit. Yeah.
Right. Clean out the
And then,
closet. Those are more like to-do lists, which is fine. Those can be intentions as well.
of course, yeah. And it's almost like I had to look deep within myself and ask the question, like, what matters the most to me in this season of my life? Because it
Yeah,
changes too, right?
for sure.
Where you are, what you're experiencing. And then the question, so like the intention that I created in 2025 came from that place. What mattered the most to me? And I typically now reflect on the year before, and that's something I started practicing more of end of 2024. We went to this burning bowl, my husband and I. It's at a Unity church where you write down everything that no longer serves you on a piece of paper, and then we put it in a bowl of fire, almost like releasing that, not taking that with you, not carrying that with you to the next year or the new year. And then what I did was, and then I reflected back on 2024 and realized that something that is a challenge for me is, let's say I create an intention to move more, right? And something challenging happens. It could be something that I am responsible for, someone I am responsible for. Like, for example, like I get busy with something I need to do for my parents. I get busy with work. It can be just about anything. And I would put that off. I would just say, okay, I can't because I need to take care of this. I need to take care of this. And then next thing you know, it's end of the it's nighttime and it's I want to go to sleep. So, something I created this year is to be consistent even during my darkest times. And by darkest, I mean what I perceive as a challenging time,
Yeah.
so to stay true to that. And then every day, my goal now is to ask myself to align with that. How do I want to feel throughout the day? And what does the day look like? And how do I want to serve that day with that intention? So
Yeah.
that's been my practice this year.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. I love all of that.
Mhm.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have anything that you have thought of, or for the year, or for daily, like something that you like to cultivate, like a virtue or something? Anything that comes
Yeah.
up?
I'm not a, because I'm setting intentions often, and I'm constantly reflecting on each day and how I can learn the lessons from the day, and bring that into the next day to just be a better version of myself. I'm just constantly,
Mm.
creating intentions and living in the present. So, but I would say the one that is just sits really like the highest with me right now is I allow myself to expand, because I
Mm.
know so many amazing things are going to happen in 2025 as I reflect on all that I've accomplished and overcome, and all of the beautiful blessings that have happened in 24 amidst all of the challenges that have arisen. I know that 2025 is going to be amazing, even though it is a Gregorian calendar. Like this next season, this next cycle is going to be amazing. And I surrender and I allow myself to expand and I allow myself to receive. And I know that that tells the universe that, all of the soul connections that I need to make, all of the opportunities that are also seeking me, I open
Mm.
myself up and allow myself to receive all of those things.
That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. I love that. Like, receiving is so hard for many of us.
Yeah.
Really is, right? Like, allowing ourselves to open. There's the practice in Shavasana. We sometimes say in yoga, like, you can, if you want to feel grounded, keep your hands down, like touching the ground. If you are in a place where you would like to receive, keep your palms
Yeah.
open. And I think one of the, and maybe for most women, in my circle, asking for help or receiving is definitely one of the most difficult challenges. Like, we almost don't believe we're worthy of expanding and
Yeah.
receiving. So I really like how you shared that. That's a beautiful understanding to embody for sure.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at now, and I have not always been like that, just like you were saying, it takes practice. It takes
It
daily work, it takes experiences, it's part of our journey. We're all going to experience different things at different times in our lives, depending on what our soul's journey is. But yeah, I mean,
does.
there were times in my life where I was major control freak, had anxiety, was worried about everything, had to like control everything because I wanted everything to be perfect. So I had to learn how to release all of those things and learn how to surrender to allow myself to receive. So that's a practice for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
surrendering to our intentions. I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
I love it.
Yeah. Hope all of you enjoyed listening to today's episode on intentions. And my note to you with this episode is, may we all connect to the intentions we created to evolve into our highest self with self love and compassion. What's your note, Debbie?
It's all about the journey, not the destination. So be present in the moment.
Thank you so much for being a part of our journey. And be sure to leave your comments on this episode below. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to share this episode with your friends and family.
Please stay connected with us. You can find us on social media at The Savory Scoop. And if you'd love to send us an email or comments, or just to connect further with us on a personal level, you can email us at connect at The Savory Scoop. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next time.